Good morning. We're on the 1 cup of coffee that I have every morning. Just woke up. Got the candle and the statue. Going to talk about power and mind control and morality and stuff. In my previous video that I made yesterday, go watch it if you haven't. I explained a situation where this lady tried to exert power over me. This concierge of an apartment building tried to exert power over me, and it didn't work. But there was a dude that made a comment, and he said a sentence that says, common sense would have been to abide by the rules and regulations of the apartment building you're delivering to. Which you could actually shorten that to what he's really saying. Common sense would have been abiding by the rules and regulations. I feel bad for you, man. I feel bad for you, genuinely. That's an unfortunate state of mind. And something that I absolutely abhor. You should never say that. You should never say that. The rules and regulations of something are abstract methods of trying to create power, to have power over people. And we can get into different forms of power. There's different forms of power out there. There's physical power. Maybe I can beat somebody's ass, or I can, maybe I have a weapon, I can kill them, or I can chop their head off, or whatever. That's physical power. I can threaten somebody's life, or, even violating somebody. Rape is a form of power. That's physical power. You're dominating somebody's body, or you can threaten their life or something like that. Then you can get into monetary power. You can pay somebody off. They have a price. You can, I can pay you a certain amount of money to get you to do something. That's a certain amount of that's power. Also, you could probably have, you could use it the opposite way. Do this, or I take away your money. I steal your money or something like that. So that's a form of monetary power. There is authoritative power, authoritative power is this abstract power. It's power based off of belief. It's based off of belief. And it's crazy, but like most forms of things are based on belief. Money is a belief system. Your dollar only holds value because everybody else agrees that it does, that uses it. People that use it agree that it has value, but there's actually nothing intrinsic. There's no intrinsic value about it. I won't get too deep into that. But there's belief systems around power. And this is what you come across in jobs. Whatever your job is, you have somebody above you and somebody above them and somebody above them. And these people hold power only in your job. You notice that when you leave the building, if you leave the building that you work at, their power ends the moment that you step out. So it's interesting to think about, isn't it? Their power is limited to a certain physical space. Is that really power? If your power can end when you step out of a door, I'm not sure that's power. I'm not sure that that's power. I'm not sure that that's real power. I want to get to the bottom of what real power is. I've been obsessed with power for quite a while. I've been thinking about this, ruminating on like power and morality and mind control the last like few weeks, man. Probably more than that, last like couple months. But just starting to like piece together an idea here. But But yeah, your power isn't, it isn't really much if you can step out of a door and it ends. So, people have these people in authoritative positions, hierarchy, power structures in all corporate companies. You got it in the military, political system, all this stuff. Their power is based off of a belief system that they have power. Other people believe that they have power and they will enforce. They have other people that are enforcers of physical power when it comes down to it. When it really comes down to it, if there are people that don't believe in their abstract power, that won't do what they tell people to do, like say at your job, you didn't do what your boss told you to do. You chose not to do it. Okay, well, you can go to HR, they'll write you up. That's another abstract form of like, oh, we wrote you up. That's meant to threaten your mind. That's meant to control your mind, get you in fear of losing your job, fear of this, fear of that. You don't want to lose your job. The whole threat is to lose your job, right? Which is actually monetary power. Comes down to like monetary power, which is also a belief. Anyway, so somebody that's higher than you can fire you, but they can only fire you because if they say that you're fired, other people in the company will back them up. People that are higher than them will back them up and say that you're fired. And people that control the money, the accounting department, they will make sure that you don't get paid. But if these people that worked in these departments didn't believe in this person's power and chose to just be like, no, actually, if you say that this dude's fired, he's actually not. We'll just continue to pay him. And you just kept on showing up, well, then this person wouldn't have power. Their power is in that everybody believes that they have it. And they will enforce it. They will enforce it in their certain methods. Like, think about why people don't do things. Why people don't do things in society. Think about right and wrong. Let's get into right and wrong. Think about right and wrong. Morality. I think that the reason the reason that rapists aren't crawling the streets right now and murderers aren't crawling the streets is not because enough people have convinced them that it's wrong. You see? Oh, you shouldn't do this. Rapist says, you know what? You're right. I'm going to stay at home today. I'm going to stay at home today. The pedophile says, you know what? You're right. I'm going to stay at home today. I'm not going to diddle kids. It's wrong. Yeah, you're right. No. That's not the reason. The reason is that all these people are physically behind bars. That there is a threat of them being physically that they're either behind bars currently, or there is a threat of them being behind bars, or there is a threat of somebody killing them in prison. I just bit my tongue. In prison. Oh man, especially pedophiles, man. Go to prison, you're fucked. That's probably why Epstein committed suicide. Which he did. So think about that. The reason that like people can't do things in society, the reason why like you go outside your front door and it's relatively safe, like people aren't gonna like take your shit or threaten your life or take your car or beat the hell out of you and steal your wallet or something like that, is because of the threat to them if they did. There's enough power, physical power, or yeah, it's mostly physical power, isn't it? Physical power. We can lock you up. We can lock you away from society. There's enough of a physical power on them, which has enough of a mind control power on them that they won't do it. But you see, nobody's been convinced. Like people think like, oh yeah, society's better because everybody is just more moral. I'm not sure that that's what it is. I don't think that it's hard to it's hard for me to believe after everything that I've seen in the world that um, you know, should should and should not exists, you know, that people abide by it without can and cannot being enforced on them. Can and cannot power, physical power over somebody, or monetary power over somebody, some cost on them. Usually it comes down to it's a physical cost on them. They either their life ends, or they're tortured, or they're put behind bars for a long time. Physical power on them exerted. Go back to nature. This is how power is exerted in nature, in the wild. This is how power is exerted in nature between animals. We like to pretend that we're different from animals, that we're higher than animals, that we're more moral than animals, that we're more complex, more nuanced, more, higher states of consciousness, blah, 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 blah. Okay, maybe some distant period in the future, but I still think that, I don't even know then, man. We still abide by can and cannot. We still abide by physical power. It's clear. If you just see it, it's clear that the world is run by physical power. There aren't wars going on because, well, nuclear weapons and stuff like that, but mutually assured destruction and all that stuff. But what governs the animal kingdom still governs us. It is can and cannot at the end of the day. It is can and cannot. That dictates what you should and should not do. Going back to this example of what happened yesterday, when I was at the apartment complex trying to deliver some stuff on the first floor to this lady on the lobby floor, and I go through the lobby and the concierge wants me to load my stuff back up on the truck and go around to the freight elevator and then use the freight elevator to come up to the floor that I'm currently on, instead of just letting me through and letting me go down the hallway to the door, which is literally, it took a minute. That's the policy. That's the guideline that she wants to enforce. Okay. Is there an objective right and wrong? The guy that I mentioned when the video started, apparently he would think that right and wrong is is based on rules. Is based on rules. Oh, you just got to follow the rules. Oh, you just follow the rules. I'm moral. I'm right. I'm good. No. There is no, and I didn't feel wrong for doing it. But this is the thing. You can, this can get you. This can get you. There are tons of people living that are got by imaginary beliefs in authoritative power, in abstract power, and it's gotten mind control over them. Their minds are dominated by imaginary forms of power. And I can give you guys a hell of a personal story here. You won't believe it. But this lady's rules and guidelines that she was trying to enforce, the policies she was trying to enforce, there is no right and wrong about them. You see, she was trying to convince me that what I was doing was wrong because it's against the rules and the guidelines. But I'm not sure it's that. I don't think that it's really that. The rules and the guidelines didn't make sense to me, and I didn't feel guilty for breaking them because I didn't feel like what I was doing was anything wrong. Just taking them through a lobby and taking them to the customer, it actually makes my life easier when doing this is not going to hurt anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. She was trying to convince me that what I was doing was wrong, when really what she was doing was wrong. I enforced my, is and is not, my power onto her. I made her feel that what she was doing was actually wrong. You see, you can look at this from two different perspectives. I believe that what she was doing was actually wrong. It didn't, it, you know, and but really, was it wrong, or is it just like, what can you do? Like, who has more power here? Who's going to dominate this power struggle? You see, whose mind is going to dominate the others? She's trying to convince me that what I'm doing is wrong. She's trying to convince me that I need to like have some sort of fear or trepidation over what's going to happen to me. She threatened that my truck would be towed. Oh, they're going to tow you in a second. You got to move your truck. This was after I got over on her, and she kind of bended and caved and let me take the stuff to the lobby. No, she didn't like that she caved. She didn't like that she lost power. So she tried to exert power again. Go move your truck. Tried to threaten physical power. Oh, if you don't move your truck, it's going to get towed. Okay, if I believed that, if I had believed that my truck was actually going to get towed, then she would have succeeded. And if that mattered, if I believed it and it mattered to me, if it mattered to me enough, I didn't want it to get towed, well, then I would have gone and I would have moved the truck. But I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I knew that she was full of shit. I don't buy it. People have done this to me a lot. People threaten you with things. They try to threaten certain things, and you just have to call BS. You just have to call bullshit. No, I don't believe you. Oh, well, this is going to happen. I'm going to do this. I don't believe you. And what happened? Nothing. Went down the hallway, delivered the stuff, came back. Van was still there. She was in her feelings. I just walked by, didn't even look at her. But I looked at her when I was very far away. She was just like, oh, she's such a mess. I'm like, yeah, you should feel such a mess. You should feel like, what did I just do? Why did I try to do this against this guy? He's just trying to deliver some stuff. I'm trying to be draconian and tyrannical for no reason. It's awful. Awful, in my opinion. But you see how, like, it's all mind control. It's all like, because we get into another form of power here. That's computational power. Computational power is what this power is when you're retaining your seed, when you're cultivating a higher magnetic field, a higher energy potential, higher energy storage, higher energy capacity, higher channeling energy capacity through you. You're becoming a more powerful conduit of energy. And this power is going to result in computational power. This is what you feel when, like, you're out there in the world and you're thinking faster and smarter than other people. You're just ahead. You're just ahead of them. You're thinking through things in a different way. You're just on a different level than them. And that is computational power. And I think that actually, that power exists no matter where you are. So that power is not a power where if you step outside a door, you lose it. That power can't be taken from you. It can't be stolen. Like, the money can't be stolen. Or if everybody stops believing that you have this power, it's not gone. You see what I'm getting to? If everybody loses belief that the dollar has value, okay, well, then the dollar is worthless. If everybody who uses it believes that or sufficiently enough, a sufficient amount, a majority of them, sufficiently enough, they just believe one day, you know what, this doesn't hold value. The thing won't hold value. Merchants won't take it. Banks won't take it. Nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about it. This is what happens when hyperinflation occurs in certain countries, right? So if the belief is gone, then the power is gone. Okay, if people stop believing that you have computational power, you still have it though. You still have it. Power is power, no matter where you are, and no matter if people believe it or not, right? It is a form of real. I think there's something about computational power that is different from other forms of power. Think about why Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan and I don't know, all the dudes that conquered all these lands, Caesar probably did it, and all the Roman emperors and the the Saxon kings and all this shit throughout history, all these dominators, world dominators, spreading their empires, killing hundreds of thousands, millions of people, raping women, by the millions, whatever, conquering lands, spreading destruction, all this stuff, just to amass. What are they trying to do? They're trying to gain more power, gain more physical power. But it's not just physical power, is it? They're not just trying to gain physical or monetary power, are they? Because imagine if you took people out of the equation. Say this dude existed and picture this. They can conquer all of these lands and amass all of this physical power, have all this land, and have all this money, but they don't have power over people, though. Imagine a hypothetical where they have all this land and they have all this money, but people's minds are not controlled by them. They don't have, this doesn't, people don't like revere this. They don't revere, land and physical power. Like if they all just hated this dude, and just like, you know what I mean? Like if they didn't abide, they hated this person, they didn't conform, it wouldn't really be that satisfying, would it? If Alexander the Great conquered all these countries, or Genghis Khan conquered all these lands and amassed all this wealth and this power and this physical power, right? Well, think about it. Maybe they wouldn't even have physical power behind them. What if all these armies didn't even believe in their power, right? What if they didn't believe that these dudes had power? Well, then their armies stop working for them. Their armies stop enforcing their rules and their power and their physical power. People stop believing that they have power. You see what it really was. You see what really conquerors tried to do? What really anybody is trying to do is they're trying to have power over people's minds. That's really what it is. I don't think Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan would have done what they did. Killed people by the millions, raped women, killed children, and done all this crazy stuff to amass all this wealth and this power, all this land, expand their empires. They wouldn't have done it if they didn't have power over people. If you take the power over people out of the equation, they didn't just do it for land. They didn't just do it for monetary, for a lot of money, which is actually a form of belief from people. Monetary power is belief of people. So it is like you're controlling people's minds. It is mind control. That's what people want. That's what conquerors actually want. They want control. They want power over people's minds. And that is real power. Real power is being able to have some sort of influence or power over another person's mind. If I have power or influence over another person's mind, then all the other forms of power don't matter, do they? I don't have to threaten a person's life. I don't have to, hold a gun to their head. If I have influence over their mind, I can just get them to do what I want. I don't have to buy them off. I don't have to pay them a certain price, a certain amount of money, or threaten that I'll take away a certain amount of money or take away their house. or take away their family or their children. They'll never see their children or family again, which is physical power. No, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do any of these things. If I just have influence over their mind, then that's it, you know? I don't have to exert the other forms of power on them. You see that mind control is the ultimate form of power. Ultimate. Ultimate. And if somebody doesn't control your mind, if they actually can't control your mind, if what they're threatening you with doesn't control your mind, if you say, you know what, I don't care, or I don't believe, like whatever you do to me, whatever you threaten me with, I believe that you won't, or I don't care if you do. Then you'll notice that like it's very like, how can people have power over you? Yes, they can have physical power over you. Like think about a dude that rapes a woman. He rapes her physically. He rapes her physically, right? He's trying, you know, he's violating her physically. But for most of us humans out here, us that have empathy, us normal people, we would never do that, because that's not what you don't want physical power over a woman. You don't just want to like have sex with her, especially if her mind it hates you. That's what rape is. Like you're physically dominating her, but her mind is not, you don't have power over her mind. Or at least in the way of like she's enjoying it, or she wants it, or she's consenting to it. It's the opposite. She hates it. She hates you. She's disgusted. She's revolted. You know? That's why, like, that's why that's not even a thing for most people. Like they would never do it, because that's not what sex is about. It's not about just physical, physical intercourse or something like that. It's about the mind. It's about the mind connection. I want you, when you're intimate with a woman, you want her to like enjoy it and be with you and wanting it and stuff like that. That's everything. That's everything. You know? That's everything. It's not even really like the act itself. You don't even want to physically dominate. But for people that are messed up in the mind, it's just like they just want physical dominance, and they think that but I think that they're trying to get, what they're trying to get is they're trying to get mind control. They're trying to get her mind. But they can't do it through that. They can't do it through physical means. Something that like they just don't, like that's something that they just don't understand. It's quite sad. But yeah, man, it really is just like there are certain all there's so much power around here that is imaginary. But computational power is different, because you have it no matter if people believe that you have it or not. It's not a belief system of power. My power that's coming through me, that when you retain your seed and you have this masculine energy, your computational power, you being able to think faster and smarter than most people and have more energy to carry out more physical things and multitask and problem solve more things more accurately. This is stuff that is real. It's happening despite people believing that it's happening. Believing in it. It's happening. It's real. It's real. There's no belief about it. And this is interesting. There's something here. There's something here. This is why like power like this is different, man. It's different than the other forms of, you have people out there in society that have a lot of money. They have a lot of status. They're very famous. Dudes that they're killing it. They drive nice cars. They have a lot of money. They have hot women. Maybe they have, status and stuff. They're famous or whatever. Okay, all of these are forms of, I guess, power, right? They have monetary power. They have, property and stuff. They have a woman that I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's just, they just have material stuff. But anyway, but they have monetary power. They have authoritative power. But monetary power is a big one, right? Monetary power is a big one. But it only exists if people, but it's like, it only exists when they have it. Well, I guess that's no different than, I don't know. I'm still very crude. Still thinking through this, but you get the idea. There's something here. There's something here, man. There's something about this energy that's different from. There's something about this power that's different from the other forms of power. That you have it, man. And like, it doesn't require belief in it. It's not abstract. It is real. I could talk about, this is an idea that comes from Bitcoin, and I won't get into Bitcoin, but same thing though. It's backed by real physical energy. There's something about things being backed by real physical power, real computational power based in reality. Proof of work, like proof of real power, tangible, that actually can do things, that can carry out work in the world. You can carry out work. There's something about that that's just different. It's just different. And so this is the reason why, like, you might be, so like I've noticed this, like, I could be around a guy that has more money than me. He has more status than me. He might be better looking than me, or have like he has a girlfriend at all, because I don't have a girlfriend. But he maybe has like a hot wife or something like that. He drives a Bugatti or whatever. I don't feel threatened by him. Like, I don't, like, you can get dudes like this, and like, I feel more powerful than them. And it's like, when I interact with them, I'm not saying like I've interacted with a guy specifically like this that drives Bugatti and has like a nice car and makes a lot of money and stuff like this, but guys that are in higher statuses in society, when I interact with them, some of them I interact with, and I'm like, I just, like, it's like, you feel more, that you have more power than them. I don't know exactly how to explain this, but like, you think quicker, you're sharper, you just have more real power behind your organism than they do. Even though they have power in, material stuff that can be taken from them. They have money, they have status, but their job can be taken from them. Their money can be taken from them. They can spend all their money, or people can stop believing that their money has value, or things like that. There's something about like power like that, power based in belief, that just doesn't have the same, quality, does it? Just doesn't have the same, like, oomph. That's why I think this power that you amass on semen retention is like, it's just different, bro. It's just different. It's like, it's actual. It seems to be that is actual power. And you can, like, going back to like mind control, I'm not saying that you should strive to control people's minds and like have power over people's minds, but when you're a highly powerful, energetic organism, it seems as if the inevitable outcome, what happens, is that people tend to follow whatever you do and whatever you say. They kind of follow your example, they follow your lead. They see that you're more a powerful organism than they are, and so it's like, you can just exert influence on them, even without you even trying. You don't even try. It's like, it seems like this kind of starts to happen organically. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying anything wild here. Like, oh, everybody's just gonna start doing like, you can control entire rooms of people with like a look or a word or what. No, nothing crazy. But I do think that you have influence, whether you believe that you do or not. People are going to, yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy that that there's something about this power that, and then you start to amass. It's like this form of power creates all the other forms of power. What are all the other forms of power? What is money? And what is status and fame and like having property and having nice cars and women? What is that without having computational energy, without having real energy to carry out work in the world? What is having a woman if she doesn't love you? What is having a woman if she doesn't respect you or admire you? If you can't exert power over her mind, and that sounds like, kind of sounds weird, but when a woman loves you, when people love you or admire anybody, when people love you or admire you or care for you, you do have a certain power over their mind. So what is it to have like a hot chick if all she's into is just like your stuff? Like she doesn't actually, you don't have power over her mind. I mean, I guess your stuff does, but like you don't. And so like, you know what I mean? Like it's just all these things, man. All these things. What are all these forms of power without real power? You can feel absolutely miserable. You can feel powerless. You can like be completely emotional, not be able to handle problems, can't problem solve for jack shit. You're a complete nervous wreck. You're depressed. You're on a bunch of meds and stuff, and you can have, there's dudes like this. They're like drug addicts and like they're into gambling, but they have a lot of money because maybe they made some great investment or they're a trust fund baby, or, they're from a same thing. They're from a wealthy family or whatever. Or, they made a lot of money in the past and then they kind of lost their way or whatever. What is this stuff if you're just a powerless person aside from all that stuff? I don't know. Like, this video is probably getting really long. I could keep going. I think I'm going to end it, though. I'm going to end it. It's the coffee, man. When the coffee gets flowing, man, it's just... All right. Hopefully this made some sort of sense. You kind of got what I was getting at here. Still kind of crude. I'm still fleshing out the details here, but there's something here, man. Something here. Money. Or no, not money. Power. Energy. Morality. All interconnected. That's it. That's the video.